Welcome to Spiritual Topic Tuesday with the Spiritual Coffee House. This is video number 9. We'll be talking tonight on, are you afraid to die? And if so, what are your spiritual practices? Before we get going, I just want to remind you, or if you're new here, let you know that at the end of the video will be everybody's contact info. So if anybody resonates with you, you want to reach out to them, you'll have that ability. We intend to give you multiple perspectives, so hopefully there'll be something that resonates with everybody. With that, let's start off with introductions. I'm Randy Sands, psychic medium, animal communicator, tarot reader, and teacher of all the above. And Chris, would you like to start off with the introductions?
Hi, I'm Christine Colin-Kern. I'm an intuitive empath and an animal communicator, and I'm also an intuitive healer. I work with both humans and animals and do some energetic healing with them. And my day job, I am currently finishing the program in the vet tech degree. So in a couple of months, I will be an official vet tech working with animals.
Hi, I'm Greg Ford. I reside in Lilydale part-time and another place another time. I'm a musician, feel connected to spirit through Lilydale and things throughout my life. So that's about that.
My name's Leanne Capistano. I live in Rochester, New York. I, by day, am a dog groomer and animal communicator. By night, I am a psychic medium. I also run one of the largest paranormal investigation teams in New York State, and love all things spiritual, and love doing this group.
Melissa.
Oh, Melissa Mack. I'm in Miami. Thank you for that. Intuitive spiritual guide and healing facilitator. I do a lot of things that don't make logical sense. So when people can't find other things to try out, we have plenty. And yes, so that's me. I'm in Miami, and my name is Melissa Mack.
Hi, good evening. I'm Wanda Hernandez. I'm located in Miami. I'm a little of everything. Years ago, I was a nurse. Now I'm a combo practitioner, Reiki, tarot, a little of everything, and always a student learner.
Hi, I am Karen Exelbert, and I'm a massage therapist, healer, and I live in Miami.
Sarah, your turn.
Okay, yes, I'm Sarah Sachs. I live in Pittsburgh, PA, but I travel to do my work. I'm a medium and a psychic. I use tarot cards, and I also do Reiki, and that's my night and my day job.
All right, and we've got a couple latecomers. We knew we were going to have a couple people coming in late. So, hey ladies, would you guys like to introduce?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Tabitha Latchaw.
And I'm Tamara Latchaw, and I apologize that both our names aren't on there, but we're not super technologically savvy with Zoom.
Anyways, we're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We own a metaphysical shop called Elemental Magic. And I don't know what else what we're introducing about ourselves tonight. So that's it.
So you guys in the lineup will be after Sarah.
Okay.
All right. With that, Chris, tonight, as you know, we're talking about, are you afraid to die? And if so, what are your spiritual practices? Would you like to get started with your perspective on that?
Yes, I was really excited. Excited, that's a strange word, but this week's topic was really intriguing to me to dig into. So I thought about it quite a bit. And I am not afraid of death, but on the other hand, I'm not necessarily anxious to hasten my transition either. I believe that our souls are brought to our physical bodies to serve a particular purpose or purposes, and that we won't transition until that purpose has been fulfilled. So whether or not we realize what that purpose is a different question. But I think we're here until we do what we came to do, and then we can transition. Because I believe that our ultimate self is composed of energy, not physical matter, when we transition, I think it's that we are simply moving our energy to a different plane. So it's a reflection of the universal laws, right? The universe works by the law of conservation of energy. When we die, that energy has to continue existing somewhere. So we don't disappear, we simply transition between phases, like the shift from water to ice to gas. On the other hand, even though I've said that I'm not afraid to die and I'm not anxious to die, in my past, when I was struggling with my identity, purpose, and spiritual practices, I did have moments of weakness where I willed death to take me immediately, not realizing that it would not relieve me of my ideological and spiritual burdens, but only my physical shell. So as I developed, as I grew and matured and came to appreciate and understand my spiritual self, and how I exist within the cosmos, then I began to realize that I really don't have a say in when I transition, because it's about when I've fulfilled my purpose. So that's all, I believe, that's all predetermined by the interplay of my energy with the energies of the rest of the universe. So there's no point in wishing for release or fearing death, because it's only a distraction from the real reason that you're here now in this physical form. So, and there's a poem that probably a lot of you are familiar with. It's by Mary Elizabeth Fry. It's called "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep." Anybody know that one? Yeah. And that one, as I was thinking about it, that poem just perfectly sums up how I feel about the transition. It says, "Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I do not die."
Oh.
I love that.
Love that too.
Awesome, Greg.
So I come at it from a little bit of a different angle, I guess. I'm not afraid to die, and I'm not afraid to get killed either. I never have been. I'm not saying I'm reckless, but I like to, race motorcycles. I used to dive out of 50-foot oak trees into little creeks, and I like that. I like living, not necessarily on the edge, but risks. That kind of gives me kind of a sense of excitement, I guess you could say, As far as dying, I think I do protect myself in some ways, maybe with food and stuff like that, I guess. I kind of forgot where I was going with this. I had another point I was going to make. Well, as far as choosing whether you die or not, I mean, that's a controversial topic. My brother's wife died of 45 years, and he died within 36 hours.
Wow.
Of a broken heart. So in some ways, he did choose the way he died. Possibly. I don't know. I'm a little confused on it. I kind of wanted to come here and listen to things. I didn't really think about it too much, other than I'm not afraid to die. And I know what it was that I feel like when I walk the earth on this side, that I believe in the karmic thing. So I think you can, in my mind, I can build up karma. Like it's like in a bank account. And the more I do good, the better, you know, the more it puts in the bank account. And that is sort of how I live. And that's about it.
Okay, Lee.
Those are great points. And I have to say that my thoughts on death have changed over the last couple of years, especially since trying to develop, you know, my mediumship and you know, my spiritual practices, because what I realized is, you know, I've lost a lot of people very young, right in a row. I buried a couple best friends, a mother, you know, a nephew, and at first I thought, this is cruel. It's horrible. I was terrified of death. Not necessarily because of the process of death. I think it's twofold. I was terrified more of the human experience of it, the suffering, the watching others deal with it. That part I can admit does still nervous. I don't want my kids to suffer. I don't want my kids to see that, you know. However, being a medium, I've been able to literally witness others cross, including my best friend about 2 years ago now. And it was the most beautiful thing, seeing other people that they loved waiting for them. It really did sit with me and make me think that if you spend your life being afraid to die, you're not going to live, you know, and that's no way to live. Nobody that loves you wants to see you not be able to live, you know, and it really did change my perspective on the entire process. The sense of peace and joy that I've witnessed, you know, by watching a couple of others cross over. I know and I believe that there's no way this is all we have. There's no way that this is where we end. And that part excites me. But my spiritual practices, nothing has changed. I do nothing different. I'm the same as Greg, where I really look at it like, you know what? Karma can be your best friend or your worst. You know, treat people every day like you want to be treated, you know, live your life the way, you know, to the fullest that you want to live it. And those kind of things will come back to you. You know, and I really full-heartedly believe that. So I'm not physically afraid, I'm not spiritually afraid of passing. I would say if I did have any fears, it would be more the physical, the human part of it. But I look forward to what we have next.
Nice. Melissa.
Okay, so I became terrified of death when I was 10 years old because I watched a movie I wasn't supposed to be watching, which had to do with Nostradamus and its predictions for the future. And they were terrifying for these times, actually. And so I was really paralyzed with fear and obsessed with dying and whatnot. But when I was 24, I had a near-death experience, and that kind of shifted things for me a bit. And so now I like to help people to make peace with death and dying. I do also talk to people who have passed over. I don't call myself a medium, but they typically show up when someone's asking or speaking about them. And I liked it for entertainment, actually. But then I saw how healing it could be. I didn't want to be specifically a medium, and I didn't ask for it. It just kind of came. But I see how healing it is for people. Had a client who had someone who had a family member who was brutally murdered. And thank goodness he came through in the session, and she left there smiling and happy and, you know, feeling like everything was all right because she could connect with information I was getting from him. So my practice, so I'm not necessarily afraid of death, but yes, you know, we can still be a little nervous getting on a scary roller coaster. So I'm not actually, you know, planning it or looking forward to it, but I think everybody should have kind of like an idea of what they expect to happen. And not be afraid of the possibility, because it's not just a possibility, it's definitely going to occur at some point. And to fear it is kind of pointless. And I agree with some of the other people that you know, you might as well play the game while you're here. Your time's not up yet, and you know, we're all supposed to still be here contributing to the energy on the planet before we go off planet. And I always tell people, and sometimes it might not sound too nice, but you know, some people are sad when someone passes, and I just tell them, you know, well, they're gonna start their next life sooner, you know, when they die. And I'm a little lighthearted about it, but people seem to take it all right, you know, unless someone's terribly suffering. But I believe in life before life and life after life, and that is my current philosophy.
Wanda.
Wow. When I was a kid, yes, I was afraid of dying. You know, from my younger years, I was afraid, yeah, honestly, of dying. And I remember when I was a child, my cousin was shot dead, and I went to his funeral, and I was like scared. I was so scared from that incident that I was just terrified with death. But then as I got older, I've seen so much death that I have to say I've got comfortable with it in a weird way. Even as a nurse, I seen patients dying. I was comfortable. I would be there. I would support them. It didn't bother me. Then as my journey begun, as my journey, maybe about, I'm going to say about 4 years ago, I tried Bufo. Bufo's a medicine, this amazing medicine. And I experienced death with that medicine. You just experience it. And it was the most amazing moment just to have that experience. I was like in spirit world for that moment. And it was just amazing experience. So from there on, after that, I was just never afraid of death. I'm comfortable with it. I know it's a process of life. And like everybody says, you know, it's like live life to your fullest right now. This is the moment that we have, that we are giving, you know, live it. You know, yes, we have to pass on. We have to go into spirit world, you know, and like some of the other people said, you know, sometimes people get a little weird with you and we had a recent passing not too long ago. And I told my sister-in-law, I was like, look, you know, he's still here. You can talk to him now. Before you couldn't talk to him, but guess what? You can talk to your child anytime now. And she looked at me like, are you crazy? But I'm like, he's here. Anytime you want to talk to your son, he's here at this moment. And people look at me in like such a weird manner, but they're, they're our ancestors. They're there. You know, you have that moment with them. They're never gone. You know, I know that you could tap in, you could talk to them. Yeah, I actually look forward to that process when it's my time to transition. You know, I'm not afraid of it. I know that there's spirit world, and like a couple people said, karma, biggest thing, karma. Honestly feel like in spirit world there's different, well, I guess this is too much of a topic, but there's different like elevations, like there's different transitions, if you want to say, like realms that you go to, if you want to say. And I believe in that. But yeah, I'm not afraid of death. I welcome it. When it's my time, it's my time, and I'm good with it. Give thanks.
All right.
So I'm not afraid of death either. And sometimes this plane here is very heavy, and sometimes I actually I can't wait to get out of here. You know, I feel like when we go, there's like a big celebration in heaven, and it's a birth. We see it as death, but it's actually like a birth in a different plane. So that's where I'm at. I'm not afraid of it. I do ask, I ask my soul. I've been programming myself. So when that day happens, sometimes I think I'm going to leave until I'm 250 as well. So, but I am programming myself to like have a painless death, you know? There's amazing those people that go to sleep and they just like leave like in their sleep at peace, no pain, no, so I that's how I would like to go. Well, the moment that it's my time to go. I do feel like there's still a lot for me to do here on this plane, on this earth. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it for now.
All right, Sarah.
Okay. I've been thinking that there's kind of an old saying that if you want to clear out an AA meeting, have the topic be death. And actually, there's some truth. I did find that to be true over the years, and but that kind of brings me to the point of, back in the days of drinking and using all this crap, is that I realized years later that the big driving force for people getting high and drunk and everything is the fear. It's a really ironic thing because it's a fear of death that drives us, yet flirting with death at the same time too. And so which really brings out the very interesting contrast in that. But I'm glad that poem, "Do Not Weep at My Grave," was brought up, because the first time I heard that it was early 2004 at my friend Lorraine's memorial. And this was just months before I was going to be discovering my own mediumship thing. And it was very comforting to hear that, because it made me feel as though that maybe we don't really die, that our energy lives on. And I had been flirting with that idea for a while. And then it was 5 years later, a cousin of mine passed away, and at his memorial, he said but he was very ill. He cut something out of the newspaper that he wanted to have read at his memorial, and it was that poem. So I guess I've gone through different phases. Maybe it's more of an apprehension about going into the unknown, but my attitude around death and the fear of it has really changed over the years. I think partially to do with the mediumship, but I also, but it's kind of funny at the same time, because when we lose people, and I've really lost a lot of people in the past few years, that I think that as mediums we don't grieve, but yet we really do grieve, even though we know that they're not, that they've just moved on to another plane of existence, but we're still human and we grieve. So I remember my cousin, in fact, the sister of that one that had the poem read at his memorial, was telling me, and this was a number of years before I discovered my mediumship, and she said she had been with her father when he passed, and I guess the other family members had left the room, and she said she just sat there and watched him breathe, very short breaths, and then all of a sudden he took his last breath and he let out this very big sigh. And she said at that moment, seeing him pass like that, she knew she wouldn't be afraid to die. And to me, that's one of the most amazing stories. And I know when she passed a few years ago, that knowing that, it was very comforting to know that when she passed, she was not afraid to pass because of what she had relayed. So it's a very interesting topic. And I remember reading a psychologist, Nathaniel Branden, who once said that until you get a handle on dealing with your fear of death and kind of, you can come to terms with that, until you do that, you're not going to be able to live. And to me, that's a very big philosophy. And there are days when maybe there is some of that, but for the most part, I think that's really true, is that once you come to terms with that, then you really begin to live. And so that's it for me.
Okay, I'll go first for us, because I'm going to say something different than everybody else has said so far. I am terrified to die. And it really comes from, I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and the form that it takes is that a fear of death and a fear of dying. And so constantly thinking about dying and thinking about the people that are close to me dying and how they're going to die and what's going to happen. And so that is pretty much plagued me my entire life. And, I do take medication for it. I have tried different kind of things to get over it. And the closest I came was, I tried a plant medicinal medicine and a deep meditation. And about an hour in, my spirit guides were like, we're going to let you see what it's like to die. And so maybe that'll help you get over this. And I did. I experienced that sort of going into this, light and being comforted and being so filled with love, and how gentle it was, I guess, and loving. And I was like euphoric for a few seconds, and then it was gone. And it helped me for probably, I think, like a month or two. And then it all came back. It's like I'm plagued by it, and I don't understand why. And I'm sure that there's some sort of past life thing that holds me to this, but it's like I have not in my 52 years figured out what it is that's, keeps me trapped into this place of this fear. So I don't take chances, I don't take risks. I'm like the anti-risk person. I'll tell you, like, if you say you're going to do something 50 million ways about how you're going to die doing it. So it's not a good thing. I'll tell you that. Just seeing it all the time and becoming a medium did not help. Talking to people, and I understand there's the spirit world, and I understand all of that. And still I can't wrap my brain, or I can't shut my brain off from the constant thoughts. So yeah, I am very, and I believe in reincarnation. I believe in the spirit world. I know we have purposes for being here, and I believe, I don't remember which one of you said it, but you're here until you fulfill your purpose. And, my spirit guides have actually even told me, you're going to live to be at least 85 years old. Stop worrying about it right now. And I still can't. And so, yeah, that's a big thing for me. I knew this would be a good topic for me.
All right. So for me, I don't remember who said it earlier. I'm not exactly in a hurry to die, but I'm not afraid.
God, I would love to say that.
I think what really did it for me personally, that, when I was younger, didn't think about death at all. Never occurred to me that I might possibly die. Right. The recklessness of youth. And as I got older, and as I'm now into my mid 40s, and people my age are starting to pass into spirit. And I'm like, all right, now I'm starting to think about it. And what really provided me comfort and knowledge was my mom. My mom passed away from Alzheimer's, and it was the longest, slowest decline of anybody you've ever seen. It was probably 6 years.
More like
And
10.
all right, yeah, it was like 10. It was like 10. But during that time when she wasn't really with us, she was in spirit, and I could still talk to her. As Tabitha said, we're mediums. So, she could let me know what's going on and help me better from that side. And that's what Tabitha's brother said too, is he can help us better from that side.
Yeah, he just passed away, and that is exactly what he told us. Maybe I couldn't help you in ways that I can help you now. And I can help you because I can see everything from this side. And so, yeah, that's exactly what he said. I can help you better from here.
And so between that and the book by Lisa Williams, Survival of the Soul, that really,
yes.
reading that book changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Because Lisa had a near-death experience, and she talks about it in the book. And basically between that, and I believe she channels her spirit guides to explain what happens after you cross over. And it really resonated with everything that I believe. I was like, hey, yeah, that makes sense. So definitely read it if you get the chance.
All right, I guess that leaves me. Come up with some kind of words of wisdom, right? All right. I probably should have been dead 20 times at least in my lifetime. One time I was in an accident. I fractured my skull in 8 places, ruptured my liver, and lacerated my spleen.
Wow.
and I'm still here. Near-death experience is amazing. And with that, I've learned that fear of death is a waste of time. It keeps us from enjoying the present. And I want to enjoy the present. I am not afraid to die. Whenever they're ready for me, boom. I am going to really upset some people because I am going to go racing in. I'm going to jump on top of everybody to the first person that works there. I'm going to be like, where's Spirit Guide School? Slide to register. And they're going to tell me I have to get in line. And I'm not going to be happy about that. So, you know, that's
I'm just rocking back and forth here in this.
you know, and I think about religion, organized religions. I can't think of one that doesn't talk about the afterlife. And as a medium, I talk to dead people all the time. So I know where they are and I know what they're doing and I know that they're enjoying themselves. There's a really good book called The Blue Island that was written by a gentleman. He was an author, William Steed, that actually passed on the Titanic. And the book was written after his passing.
Hmm.
And it was all his verbiage. And it's just an amazing book. So if you get an opportunity to read that, I suggest you do. And just recently, within the last, oh, Lee, what was it? Like in the last week, my cousin passed.
Yeah, about a week ago now.
91. She was a big numerologist. And boy, as she was in the hospital, I felt spirit on the other side building excitement for her arrival. And, you know, she arrived, and unfortunately, we didn't chat much the last couple of years, well, last few years of her life. We had a minor disagreement. And the first thing she did is she came in to me and she said, "Isn't it funny how we allow silly disagreements to waste time?" So, you know, I don't want to waste time and I don't want to fear death. And I'll tell you, whenever they're ready, I'm ready to go. I don't need to pack. I don't need nothing. Just I'm ready to go. And with that, I'm going to ask if anybody has a burning desire. A lot of times we go through every single person, but if we do that, we will probably be here until midnight. So if anybody has a burning desire, just, you know, throw your hand up and let me know.
I have one thing would like to add. You know, my best friend, as I mentioned, I buried both of my best friends within 6 months of each other, about 2 years ago now, and I hated the world. Even as a medium, you know, it doesn't mean that it makes it any easier to go through death. But I can remember sitting in the hospital, you know, with my best friend, and just a couple of hours before she passed, watching her husband show up, who was deceased, watching her, you know, her mother show up, there was this crowd of people that were there. And that I am so thankful for that experience, because to see, and she was afraid. The one, I was her health proxy. She made me promise, don't you dare let me feel a thing. I don't want to know. She knew she was going to die. She had cancer. She knew it was coming, but she was afraid. She was genuinely afraid. She said, "You make sure I am higher than a kite. I don't want to know what's going on." And so, and I vowed, I said, I will do whatever, if I have to do it myself, I will do whatever I have to make sure that you're comfortable. And, but I'm so thankful for that experience, to sit there and see. I literally witnessed, it changed my whole perspective on all of it. To watch her loved ones just show up and just wait for her. And they were ready, and they were ready before she was. You know, she stuck around long enough to say goodbye to us. You know, she was ready to rock and roll. She was getting the hell out of here. You know, it really changed my perspective on everything. I truly believe, and I've said it before, that we're the ones left suffering in the human experience. You know, they're the ones that are celebrating and living life now to the fullest in their realm, wherever that is, or whatever the case is. And I, like I said, that changed my perspective completely watching that.
I know with my cousin with crossing, I was really experiencing the building excitement with my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great aunt. You know, all of them were just becoming so excited, preparing for her arrival. And the moment she passed, it was like, it went from this feverish excitement to like, they're off doing their thing. You know, it was just an amazing feeling. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I think yes. One of the things that I think I realized that I have done, and that is that a lot of times, people will leave their lives kind of like a mess, or have a lot of unfinished business or projects. And a lot of that is out of the fear of death. It's saying, I can't die because I have all of this stuff to finish up. And I think, and I've seen people go through that. I had a friend when I was living in Seattle. I had a friend, Don, who was dying of AIDS, and he he was a really good photographer, and he had big boxes of papers and photos that were throughout his apartment. And he said near the end, he said he realized that the accumulation and not going through all of that stuff was a ploy to hold off death. And I never thought of it that way until he had said that. But then, that's something to be aware of, that maybe maybe our little hidden fears of death, they come out in things like, well, if I'm going to put off doing this because then I can't die until I do that. So we play these little games with ourselves too. But when you become aware of that and realize that, yeah, that's what I'm doing, that it kind of dissipates the whole thing, and then you start to get things in a little bit of an order.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say something, if it helps anyone who's got fear of death. In my first past near-death experience, I was ready to go. I'm like, I knew there was something else, and I ignored that I was drowning, and I was ready, waiting for the bus for the next thing to happen. But 2 years ago, I had another near-death experience. Oh, and that one, I was like, no, 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 I don't want to go. But it's something funny when you're pretty sure that you're gonna die. It seems to me that you just make peace with it in that moment. In that moment, you're like, oh yeah, this isn't real anyway. Like in that very last moment when you're for sure you're out of here, it just doesn't seem like this world is the real world, but you're going back to the real world. And so the other thing I thought was interesting was I've seen people who had, reasonably okay lives, and in the last minute, especially if they're in nursing homes, have like terrible, terrible endings, or just really dramatic. And I just wonder, I think being in this life, we came to experience the whole range of human emotion. And, when things look so bad in the end, and it just looks all like, oh, and what can you do? And you're fighting the hospitals or whatever's going on, or you have an emergency or something, it feels terrible. But I think these are, we're experiencing all sides of life, and bringing our light to dark places perhaps. But I can't help but wonder if the spirit sometimes doesn't like a little excitement on their way out before the non-physical, because when you're non-physical, you can't no head, no wall. You can't bang your head on the wall. You can't smash your car into the oncoming 18-wheeler. You can't do any of these things. So I wonder sometimes if they don't just have these dramatic endings as a way to feel this life as much as you can before you left. And with that also, the 2 times that I did think I was going to die, I didn't feel any pain. And I hope that it's like that for everybody, because as soon as you're about to feel pain, you just like pop out of the body, unless you want to have that experience, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Okay. Tabitha, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I had a question for you guys. If you're in work as mediums, if you come across people that have passed away suddenly, but they tell you that they knew they were going to pass, like they weren't dying of anything specifically, but they passed suddenly, and they were aware that they subconsciously knew they were going to die soon. Do you find that common? Because when my brother passed, he said he knew he was going to die, and it made sense because he certainly wasn't trying to prevent it, and he was having chest pain, and he was ignoring it. But then after he died, he's like, I knew I was going to die. So
Well, look at Whitney Houston. The day even the day of her death, she was running around at a party that Clive Davis had, telling people that she was going to meet Jesus soon.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. Wow.
She went upstairs to take a bath and change and rejoin everybody, and she passed in the tub.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a friend. This is a long time ago when I was living in New York. I was 29 and she was my sister's age. She was 27, and perfectly healthy person. And I had spent after we worked together, we spent a very long afternoon and had dinner and had a big evening of it. And it seemed like there were little chunks and pieces of her life that were too involved to go into. But I had noticed that during the summer, it wasn't that she was saying she was going to die, but I remember one evening going over to her place in the West Village. She gave me a couple articles of clothing that looked perfectly good, and people at work were saying, yeah, Barbara was giving away she was giving away things. And looking at it, things like that, little things you couldn't put your finger on, that was out of the ordinary. So at any rate, after that night evening we spent together, the next day we came to work, and she went to lunch and I went to lunch separately, and both of us came back at a time when everybody else was out and it was empty. And all of a sudden I heard her make these gurgly noises. I think she was having a fight with her ex-boyfriend on the phone. All of a sudden the phone dropped. She was making funny noises, so ran over and screamed to someone to call 911, and the guys from the Bellevue came and took her out of there. And she lasted till about 3 o'clock. She passed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she had an aneurysm.
Oh.
She had an aneurysm, had no idea whatsoever. But I could tell and this happened just before the 4th of July weekend, but I could tell from that spring and summer, she was just doing things like kind of getting rid of things, and maybe and having to talk to certain people to get certain things settled. But that was a big shock. That was a very, very big shock. But in hindsight, we knew that she was kind of getting ready to go. And it was a very subconscious thing, I think. But it happens. I think it happens in different ways.
I think there's also people that they know something is going on and they don't want to seek help or get it checked out because they don't want to know they don't want to hear it.
That was what my brother definitely was
Yes.
like.
And I think that a lot of people that fear death, I think they fear the pain. But I don't know that there really is pain, because I believe the spirit leaves before that. I know in my cousin's case here recently, she was talking to me from the other side before her body actually, stopped living. So, this can be looked at from so many different perspectives. And that's why I enjoy having so many people on with so many different perspectives. Some will resonate with you and some won't. All right, before we close out, one last hurrah. Anybody?
I
Oh,
got hit
I
by
wanted
a
to say something. Oops. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, I got hit by a truck when I was 16, and I flew like 30 feet and landed on my head, and they told my mom I was going to die. I only remember when I woke up.
Wow.
But yeah, I was out like trout in summertime, and I
That
don't know.
happened to me with the motorcycle accident too. I don't remember the ambulance. They said I was talking to them. I don't remember anything.
Were you in a coma?
They say I was in and out,
Wow.
but I don't remember anything.
Wow.
Life is an interesting place to live.
But I went from D student
Well,
to A student.
I was gonna say something. When I was living in Barcelona and my grandmother was in Colombia, and I didn't see her for at least 10 years. And 2 days before she passed, like she came to my dream to say goodbye to me
Oh,
in
sweet.
my dreams. Yep.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
when my parents called me and they told me that she passed, like I wasn't surprised at all. I'm like, oh, okay, she
Mhm.
came to say goodbye to me.
All right, Wanda, you had something to say?
Yeah, years ago, my brother-in-law, before he was murdered, actually, he had a dream and he actually told us exactly. He's like, this is how I'm gonna die. And exactly how he told us his dream played out to be, is exactly how my brother-in-law died.
Oh.
Exactly. He knew beforehand, like I would say after that dream, maybe a month later, he died. He died a month
Wow.
later. He transitioned.
We'll see what happens with my mom because she just told my sister she had a dream she was dying and she's 85.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's through dreams. Yeah.
I have
But it
a
helps to make peace with it, I think.
Mhm.
yeah. I have a recurring dream that I get T-boned in a car and die in a car accident.
Oh.
So I just think somehow, someday, that's how I'm gonna die.
Wow.
I
I'm
just
not-
put my mom in a assisted living last Tuesday, and she's 91, has Alzheimer's. Well, she more has dementia than Alzheimer's, but she keeps saying, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to
Oh
die."
no.
And it's like,
Well,
I
they're
gotta
probably
be-
visiting her, angels or something.
it's
Mm.
it's bad. You
That's
know,
hard. That is
to hear
hard to
that.
deal with.
It's hard to
Yeah.
watch.
Hard.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and close out. We would like to thank you for spending your valuable time with us. I'm going to speak for everybody when I say it's an honor and a privilege for us to be here and give our perspectives. And I'm sure that everybody would like to say goodnight. So guys,
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Pleasure
night.
being here. Bye.
Ciao.
everybody, may your week be as amazing as you. Until next week.